The next subject is Buddhism and other religions. Question 1. Why are there so many schools of Buddhism? What are their similarities and differences? The reason why there are so many schools of Buddhism is because the teachings of the Buddha have been very widespread, and during 45 years of the Buddha's preaching and teachings, there is a possibility there were many other teachings or sutras which the Buddha taught, but which were probably either forgotten or left out or not rehearsed during the first council held 3 months after the Buddha's death. Now, besides this, there are also many countries where Buddhism had been introduced, and in each country there are certain national or cultural practices or even religious beliefs and rites and rituals which were present in that country. So in most cases, some of these rites and rituals and existing beliefs have been incorporated in the Buddhism brought into the country. And this is particularly true in the case of China, where most of the Taoist and Confucianist beliefs existing before Buddhism was brought into the country were incorporated into Buddhism. And that is why today the Buddhists of China are slightly different from those of other nations or countries. Of course, there are also possibilities of slightly different interpretation of the Buddha's teachings, and as a result, there are many different Buddhist sects or differences in Buddhist beliefs. In Tibet, for instance, the Tibetans used to practice a lot of mystic and sometimes magic, and much of these mystic and magical practices have also been incorporated into Buddhism. And that is why the Tibetan Buddhism is different from other schools, and so with Japan and other countries. You will find even in Sri Lanka, where the Theravada teachings of the Buddha have been preserved to a high accurate state. Even there are some Hindu gods and deities in the temples and where people sometimes come to worship. So therefore, if you want to go into details of why there are so many schools of Buddhism, it is almost impossible to list them out and to explain each and every one of them. But if we look at the world religions today, you will also see that among the Christians there are many different cults or sects. So with Mohammedan, so with other religions such as Hindus, and also in the Muslim religion. In fact, such different schools are unavoidable, and even today there are people who are forming new schools of Buddhism and starting their own types of Buddhism to suit their requirements. Now the second part says, what are their similarities and differences? Here again, it is very difficult to explain all the similarities and differences in the various sects in Buddhism. Suffice to say that generally it is understood that the main teachings of the Buddha contained in the Four Noble Truths and in the Eightfold Noble Path are all incorporated in the various sects of Buddhism. The others have been slightly changed and modified, but they are not of very great significance. So Buddhists should not criticize or condemn or look down on the various sects in Buddhism. In fact, even other religions, Buddhism is not supposed to condemn or criticize other religions. Therefore, why should we criticize or argue about the various sects in Buddhism? The second question is, what is the Buddhist concept of heaven and hell? Heaven and hell in most other religions are considered to be permanent places or permanent. But in Buddhism, heaven and hell are still considered to be impermanent states. That is, if we are born in heaven, or sometimes we call the Deva, Brahma realms, that is not permanent. These realms are of long duration, but still they are not permanent. Anybody reborn in heavenly planes will have to die and be reborn again. So the Buddhists consider heavens and hells as impermanent states. Hells also are impermanent. Those who are reborn in hell to suffer will finish their suffering, and after a long time they will again have a chance to be reborn in different states of existence. Buddhism says there are 31 planes of existence, and heavens and hells are some of the planes of existence. In fact, Buddhism goes further and explains that heaven and hell are not necessarily places or areas where we are born and stay. Heavens and hells, according to Buddhism, can be experienced even in the present life. For instance, if a person is really very happy, he is sometimes considered as being in heaven. Whereas, if we are subject to sickness, suffering, pains, and to bullying, and subject to all sorts of unpleasantness, we can consider ourselves as in hell within this present existence. The next question is, what is the Buddhist concept of fear, punishment, and rewards of gods? The Buddhist concept of fear is very direct. Buddhism says that all human beings have fear. And in fact, it is because of fear that quite a lot of humanity tend to follow certain human conditions of human morality. For instance, we do not wish to do anything evil in front of people. Why? Because of fear. We are all subject to that. And it is the concept of fear that tends to keep human beings following certain human characteristics. When we fear something, we will not try to do it. In fact, some people are afraid of doing evil because they fear disgrace. They fear people talking bad about them and their families, and therefore fear is present in every human being. Now, Buddhism teaches that if we wish to get rid of fear, it can be done. And this, according to Buddhism, is one of the very important teachings. Buddha says that fear arises because we are always afraid of suffering. We are always afraid of evil beings, of unknown beings. But once we follow the Buddha's teachings and we know the truth of the nature of things, once we do good always, we avoid evil all the time, then fear will disappear. There will be no fear. And once we get rid of fear, we have more or less attained a saintly state. And this is where Buddhism teaches us how to get rid of fear. That is, to do good, avoid evil, and to know the true nature of things. And once we know these things, fear disappears. Or we can say that once we attain sainthood, fear will no more be with us. The next one is punishment. Now, Buddhism does not believe in punishment as such by an external being or authority. Buddhism says that if we do evil, we will suffer the results of the evil deed. And it is not through punishment, but through the energy, through the mental understanding that we have done certain evil deeds, and therefore evil results will come about. It is a natural law. It is not punishment as such, because punishment is understood, the word itself, as punishment from some higher authority or divine being or God. Buddhism does not say so. Buddhism says that punishment, according to the Buddhist concept, is not really existing as such. We say we suffer the results of the evil deeds, which is a natural law, wherein there is no God or divine being to carry out the punishment. Other religions, however, believe that God will punish you, but not in Buddhism, because Buddhism does not believe in a universal, all-powerful God to mete out punishment or to give rewards. And the last part is rewards of God. As I said just now, Buddhism does not believe that there is an all-powerful, universal God who can issue punishment or accord rewards for good. Anything that we get, good or bad, is the result of our own karma, our own evil or good deeds which we have done. So the explanation is punishment and rewards do not come about from God. They come about through a natural process of karma or cause and effect. If we do good, then we will reap good results. If we do bad, we will reap bad results automatically without a universal God or authority to carry out the reward or punishment. The next question is, if belief in God is not emphasized in Buddhism, how can we seek protection when we are in danger and difficulties? I think this question has already been answered previously somewhere. You see, we do not believe in an all-powerful universal God. But we do believe that there are devas, brahmas and such heavenly beings, and sometimes in Buddhist literature these are considered as heavenly beings or gods. But therefore the word God has to be explained. Here I take it that God is considered to be the all-powerful, all-knowing God who creates the universe, and man is created by God. This is the God we are talking about. So such a being, according to Buddhism, does not exist, and therefore we do not believe in God. Therefore, if there is no God, how can we seek protection when we are in danger and difficulties? Other religions believe that God will protect you when you are in danger and difficulties. But if you really study this carefully, you will find that during crisis, say during the war, a lot of other religions flock to their places of worship and pray to God for protection. During emergencies, say in an airplane crash, a lot of other religions pray to God and ask for help and ask to be saved. But are they saved? This is a very interesting question. I do not think that asking for God's protection is guaranteed. There is no guarantee that God will help you. But anyway, in the case of Buddhism, we do not pray to God for protection in case of danger. What we do is, as explained previously, we seek refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. And we always remind us, whenever we are in danger or difficulties, that the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha should help us, should be enough for us to seek protection. And if, in spite of all these triple gem, we cannot get protection or we die as a result, then we can say this is the results of our evil karma, which has now ripened, which is very heavy, which causes us to die. So therefore, Buddhists should not seek refuge in God. Although, as explained in another question, some of the gods or devas in Buddhism may, if they so wish, help us or try to protect us by warning us, by giving us certain advice, certain dreams, so that we may be protected in cases of danger. But there's no guarantee that we will get this protection whenever we want it. So how then can we seek protection? The way to seek protection, as explained before, is to do good, to avoid doing evil, and by so doing we acquire virtues of purity, of pure mind and body. And in this event, we are our own protection. The Buddha in his Parinibbana mentioned, "Do not seek protection elsewhere. Be an island unto yourself." That means protect yourself like an island during a flood. This is the ultimate way to seek protection. But before we attain that state, we seek protection in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. The next question is, what is the Buddhist concept about the beginning and the end of the world and the origin of life? The Buddhist teachings try to avoid issues like these controversial topics: beginning and end of the world and the origin of life. In fact, on most occasions, when disciples asked the Buddha about these topics, he remained silent because he considers that these topics cannot be easily explained. And besides, even if it was explained, people will never understand it beyond the understanding of normal human beings. But generally, we must say that a question like the beginning, end of the world, and the origin of life can be explained in the Buddha's teachings via the Paticca Samuppada, or dependent origination. Now that is a very deep subject which can be found in most Buddhist books. There are 12 links which go round in a circle, and because of certain conditions, another thing arises, and so on and so forth. And that's how the beginning and the end of the world and the origin of life can be explained. But I do not wish to go into it, so therefore I would like to say that if I might like to give a short answer, it would be that there is no beginning and no end of the world. Because like a circle, there is no beginning and no end. The next question is, what is the Buddhist attitude towards the concept of God? Here again, I think it's a repeat of the previous question. The Buddhist attitude is that there are many heavenly beings in various planes of existence, which, because of shortage of words, some books have called them gods. But actually, they are devas or brahmas. And there are many such higher realm beings who live a very long, happy and peaceful life. Now these beings are not God as understood in the dictionary. because in the dictionary the God is supposed to be all-knowing, all-powerful, and He is the creator of the universe. Now that the Buddha doesn't accept, and therefore Buddhists do not believe in the concept of an all-powerful, universal, all-enlightened God. The next question is it possible for either man or God to forgive one's sins? Now this is another question which seems to be rather involved. To begin with, the word sin is seldom or rarely used in the Buddhist context. So it is very hard to say whether God or man can forgive one's sins, because Buddhism doesn't dwell on the word sin. Now Buddhism, however, teaches that we can do good or evil, wholesome or unwholesome deeds. Now if one commits unwholesome deeds or evil deeds or harmful deeds, instead of sin I use the word evil, harmful and unwholesome deeds. If one does that, then neither God nor man can forgive that person, because that is considered to be a natural, universal law which man or God or any external force cannot change. In fact, this is one of the very important teachings of the Buddha, and is different from other religious teachings, because it says here that any deed performed is not within the control of gods or men. You do your own deeds, you must suffer for these deeds. No one else can interfere or try to change such reactions to one's actions. So therefore, neither God nor man can forgive one's actions. The results must ripen sooner or later according to the natural universal law. The next question is, if other religions promise salvation after death, why do Buddhists have to suffer repeatedly in samsara? Yes, some other religions may promise salvation after death. That is, they say you go to heaven or you might go to hell forever. That is what some religions teach. But Buddhism does not teach that. Buddhism does not say that we can go to heaven or hell permanently. Buddhism says that if you have done a lot of evil, then according to the evil deeds, you might be reborn in the hells. But your suffering in the hells is not permanent. When you have suffered and repaid for all the evil deeds in these hells, you will again have a chance to be reborn. This we call samsara. That means we are born, reborn, and die, reborn, die, reborn, and goes on and on in cycles. Now, there is no guarantee that other religions can make sure that their promise of salvation is guaranteed. How do we know? Other religions say that when you die, we promise you a place in heaven. But who knows? How do we know that's true? No one knows. You see, in the case of Buddhism, we do not give such a rosy picture. We make it very true what the Buddha says, that if you do good, you go to heaven. If you do evil, you go to hell. And both heaven and hell are impermanent, so that you stay in heaven for a long, long time, after which again you are reborn. And that's why in Buddhism we say we go round and round in this samsara. Now, how then does Buddhism show us to get out of this round of samsara? This is where the Buddha's teachings are different from any of the other religions, in that he shows a way. He teaches us the path to salvation. He shows us the Eightfold Noble Path which leads to salvation. The next question is, what sort of freedom do Buddhists experience which is not enjoyed by followers of other religions? Well, I think I have covered this topic also in a previous question, but nevertheless I shall repeat them. The freedom of Buddhists lie in many areas. The first area is that Buddhism encourages people to use their minds freely and to inquire and question the teachings of the Buddha before we become Buddhists. We do not ask people to just listen and believe and become Buddhists. No. We say we must come, see, ask, inquire, and question. Even the Buddha's teachings, they can be explained by the monks and teachers of religion. And only when we are satisfied that the teachings are reasonable, are acceptable, according to our ability, according to our knowledge, wisdom, then only do we accept Buddhism. The second kind of freedom is that all Buddhists who wish to attend other religious services or talks or discussions are free to do so. This is where Buddhists are very free to listen to all other religious talks, services, or to have discussions or to associate with the other religious people. This is one form of freedom which is very famous in Buddhism. The other freedom is that we should not get angry, or we should not scold, or we should not argue and quarrel or fight about people, about other people's religions. We give freedom for everybody to have their own beliefs, to have their own religions, and to do whatever it is they like. This is another form of freedom. And in fact, Buddha himself has reminded his disciples that if anybody speaks bad about Buddhism or of Buddha himself, that we should not quarrel or fight or disagree or argue too much on that topic. let them say whatever they like. And the freedom here again refers to the freedom of joining the order of monks or nuns. There is a lot of freedom involved in that anybody from any class, from higher class, lower class, from princes to paupers and to beggars and scavengers, they can all freely join as monks or as Buddhists, lay disciples. There is no class distinction. All are treated equal. So long as you become a monk, so long as you don the yellow robe and shave your head, you are of the same standard, and your seniority in the Sangha depends on the day you obtain the higher ordination, whether you are of a high rank or lower rank, you are treated equally. And again, Buddhism never has any wars or what you call religious wars, which is another special form. And therefore Buddhism, in its 2,500 years of history, can say freely that there has never been any pilgrimages or religious wars to convert others. People can become Buddhists if they wish to, but there's no compulsion. And if they become Buddhists and they wish to change their religion, they are free to do so. Buddhism does not sort of prevent a person or punish him for not being a good Buddhist or things of that nature. So Buddhist religion is very free. The next question is, what is the Buddhist attitude towards religious monopoly? I do not really know the meaning of religious monopoly as such. Probably it means that people try to monopolize, meaning that there's only one religion in a certain country or certain area. Well, the Buddhists certainly do not agree with that attitude. Buddhism is very free. In other words, a lot of people who are free thinkers can be considered as being Buddhist, because a Buddhist can take whatever attitude he requires, he likes. And therefore, religious monopoly as such is not really what Buddhists would like. But however, there may be some cases where in a certain country there is only one religion, or no religion for that matter. Well, Buddhist attitude is that is not the answer, that is not going to lead to peace and happiness. The next question is, what do Buddhists think about the destiny of followers of other religions? The Buddhists think that all human beings are equal, are brothers and sisters, and that the Buddhist will not consider the followers of other religions as excluded from what you call rewards or from punishment. In fact, Buddhists consider everyone equal in this universe, whether you are believer, non-believer. whether you are good or bad. The law of karma applies. That is, if you are good, you will get good results. If you are evil, you will get evil results. Whether you are a Buddhist, a Christian, a Muslim, or a Hindu, or a non-believer. So Buddhism is very free. Buddhism does not say that unless you follow the Buddha's teachings, you will suffer in hell. Or that only Buddhists who practice Buddhism will benefit. No, it says anybody, be he a Muslim, a Hindu, or non-believer, if he does good, he gets good results. If he does evil, he gets evil results, whether Buddhist or non-Buddhist. So this is the attitude. And this is very important because unlike some other religionists, they say that unless you join our religion, you will not be benefited. We do not think that way, and we do not behave that way. So we always think, and the Buddha has also said, respect those worthy of respect, irrespective of religion or nationality or belief. If you are good, you deserve respect. If you are good, you will be rewarded accordingly, whether you are Buddhist or not. This is the Buddhist belief. And we feel very strongly that among other religionists who are honest and who follow their religion properly, many of them would also be reborn in the heavenly realms. The next question is, where and what is Nibbana? What are the differences between moksha, heaven, and Nibbana? Well, Nibbana is a state of condition. There is no place. It is not a place. It is not a location. It is actually very difficult to explain because Nibbana itself is a very difficult state which cannot be explained in ordinary language or words. When a person has removed all evil with all defilements and is pure, he is good and he never does harm to anybody, and he becomes purified. That is Nibbana. So therefore, the where and what it is very, very difficult to explain. It is just like a condition as explained in certain books, where a tortoise from the sea, from the water, goes to the land and visits the land. And when he returns to the sea and explains the land to the sea creatures, most of these creatures will not understand, will not accept what the tortoise has seen, because they have never experienced it, and they have lived in water ever since time immemorial, and therefore they are not yet, or they are not given the ability to appreciate and to see or to realize what the land is like. So with Nibbana, it is very, very difficult to clarify and to say exactly what it is. In fact, there are books, very thick books, talking about Nibbana. So therefore, I do not think we can explain it too much or in great detail. What are the differences between moksha, heaven, and Nibbana? Now, I think moksha, I'm not certain, is the Hindu way of heaven. Now, according to the Hindu teachings, if you have purified yourself through many lifetimes, then what happens is you attain the state of moksha, or heaven, or unity with God. They believe there is an all-powerful God. So when you have attained purity, you come and join God. You become God, in other words. So this is the principle of moksha. Whereas heavens, according to other religions that teach heavens, are actually, according to them, they are permanent, heavenly, and very pleasant, good, and pleasurable places where people after death go there and remain there forever and ever. This is heaven. Now Nibbana, however, is different. Nibbana is also permanent, but it's not a place. And it is just something like you have become so pure that you need not be reborn anymore. So there's no more rebirth for a person who has attained Nibbana. He does not go to a particular place. And what happens then is very difficult, as I said, to explain. The next group of subjects come under general. Here we have many questions. The first question is, why are there still discrimination among the two sexes when women are given equal rights in Buddhism? Now, one must remember this, that when the Buddha accepted women into the order of the Sangha, he stipulated special conditions. I think there were 6 special conditions. It may be 8, I'm not very certain. Anyway, there are special conditions for women in order to become the Sangha, to join the Sangha, or to join the order of nuns. So therefore, it is not exactly correct to say that women are given equal rights as such, because the Buddha and all of us know that women are of different physical construction and they have more compassion in them, and also they tend to be a little a little difficult under certain conditions, because they are we sometimes call them the weaker sex. Although Buddha doesn't think so, it is quite clear that he does not consider women as equal to men. Otherwise, he would not have given these special conditions for women to join the order. However, the trouble with the present world is that the women here wish to fight for equal rights. Now, this is my personal opinion, and I really do not wish to talk too much about it, but when women say they want equal rights, say in an office or where they are working, do you think it is reasonable to give them exactly equal rights when, one, they get pregnant, they carry a baby, and when they go for delivery, they are given special leave because of this delivery troubles. So, when they get special leave, some 3 months, some even as many as 6 months, it seems. So under those conditions, do you still think they are equal? Whereas men work throughout their life without such maternity leave. So therefore, that shows there is some difference. We cannot say they are all equal. In fact, you must remember that the weaker sex, or the women, can actually be the stronger sex in certain conditions, such as when we take the senses into consideration, you will find that there are between husband and wife, generally from the senses, more men die and women live longer than men. So there are more widows than widowers in this world. So therefore, it is not two equal sexes, and therefore the discrimination or comparison will continue. And I think this topic is very controversial, so therefore I do not wish to go more into this. The second question is, why can women not become the Sama Sambuddha? What are the reasons? Here again, it is the Buddha that told us that women cannot become Sama Sambuddhas. And he did not stipulate the actual reasons. Therefore, we do not wish to say too much about this topic either. But it should be remembered that women can, through devotion and through practice of Buddhist teachings, with devotion and with determination, they can become Sama Sambuddhas by aspiring to become men at some later stage in their lives, and therefore become Sama Sambuddhas. So if you want to go into this question deeply, you will find that women can become Sama Sambuddhas, but not while they are still women. They can aspire to be men, and in the last birth, perhaps, they can aspire so strongly, and then become men, and from there become Sama Sambuddhas. So I think this question need not be analyzed any further. The next question is, in what ways can Buddhism contribute to human progress? Now, this is again a very wide subject, and it is very difficult to answer completely, but generally Buddhism can certainly contribute to human progress, because Buddhism teaches people to be good, to avoid evil, to do good, and to purify the mind. Now, if we look at the human world today, you will find that human beings today tend to concentrate on acquiring a lot of material things. They are very materialistic in their thoughts, and when they go to school, all they are thinking about is a good career where they can earn a lot of money, when they can become very rich, where they can have houses, bungalows, beautiful clothes, nice prestigious cars, and so on and so forth. That is their main aim these days. Now, this sort of struggling and concentration on materialistic things is actually a retrograde step in human progress. And therefore, I think Buddhism, which now teaches us to do good, to avoid doing evil, and to purify the mind, is a very good sort of teaching which can contribute to human progress. We are reminded of the Buddha's teachings that after all, money, wife, family, and a lot of riches, good food, beautiful clothes, do not make us completely happy. So if we study Buddhism and see things, after studying Buddhism, we will be able to see where we stand, and we may then change our outlook and say that is not all. Materialistic things are not the all in life. We should aim at moral values. We should aim at trying to be good to people. Not only gaining property for ourselves, but we should be generous. We should help people. We should help the poor nations. We should help people who are hungry, who are sick, who are unhealthy, who are fighting each other. We should try to teach Buddhism to all these people so that people will not fight, will not steal, will not break the precepts, will not kill, will not tell lies, will not get drunk, cause a lot of fights and troubles. In fact, if one studies human beings in this present world, one gets very worried. One gets very uncertain of the future. Because if all human beings only aim at acquiring materialistic things in this world, the world will become unfit to live in. And you find today this is what is happening. And this is why the world is going. Human progress is not progressing at all. There's no progress. It is actually human degeneration. So therefore, Buddhism is very important. And I think that if all of us are Buddhists, we will first of all try to keep the precepts. We will not kill, we will not steal, we will not behave wrongly in the sexual areas, and we will not tell lies, or get drunk, or smoke ganja, and so on and so forth. But what's happening in the world today? People are killing, stealing, robbing. People are telling lies. People are cheating. And people are getting drunk. And there are millions of drug addicts today. So therefore, Buddhism can contribute. If only people learn Buddhism and practice it, the human beings will progress and the world will become very peaceful and less ambitious. They will be contented and happy human beings. So I think Buddhism can contribute in many, many ways. The next question is, can we overcome evil deeds without depending on God? The answer certainly is yes. After all, what is the cause of evil deeds? It is our mind that makes us do evil deeds. So Buddhism teaches us to develop the mind. So the mind must be developed. We must train the mind not to think of evil. And we must use the right effort. According to the Buddha's teachings, right effort, which is one of the 8 steps along the Eightfold Noble Path towards enlightenment, explains right effort as we must try to suppress any evil thoughts. And the second is, evil thoughts that have arisen must be checked, must not be carried out. Then we must think of good deeds to think about. And once the second step is, having thought about these good deeds, we must carry them out. That is right effort. So if we do use right effort, we will be able to overcome all evil deeds. And in fact, we will also do good deeds. And this is without depending on God. Why should we depend on God to do good? It is very stupid. I feel this, if anybody depends on God for doing good, then we are actually what you call robots, worse than robots, to depend on God to guide us. How can God guide every one of us? So therefore, depending on God is the most, what you call, degrading thing to do for humans. Because according to Buddhism, if you are born as a human being, you are given a very good chance because you can think. You have the mental faculty to think and to decide what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done. And therefore, you depend upon yourself. And that is what the Buddha meant by be an island unto yourself. Don't depend on anybody, not even your friends, not even the Buddha or any God. Buddha only shows the way. Buddha teaches you how it can be done. It's up to us to do that. So don't depend on the Buddha. The next question is, how far can Buddhism agree with modern scientific discoveries? As far as I know, all the modern scientific discoveries have agreed with Buddha's teachings. In other words, they are in line with the Buddha's teachings. And I know of no scientific discovery which contradicts or disagrees with the Buddha's teachings. I do not wish to go very deeply into this because it is again a very wide subject. But on the other hand, one must be careful because some of the modern scientific discoveries are all utilized for sensual and other pleasures or for harmful purposes, in which event then it does not agree with Buddhism at all. Take, for example, the splitting of the atom, which is a modern scientific discovery. Now that is a wonderful discovery according to Buddhism. And Buddha has said that nothing is permanent, so therefore an atom is not a permanent thing. It can be further split. Therefore, splitting an atom is in line with Buddha's teachings. But when we use the scientific discovery as such to make an atomic bomb, which is a human failure actually, then of course it is not in line with Buddha's teachings, because this scientific discovery is intended as a discovery. But now human beings use this as a weapon, as a harmful weapon to destroy humanity. Then this is where scientific discoveries can, if not properly utilized, harm human beings in this universe and eventually destroy it perhaps. So Buddhism agrees that atom bomb, the splitting of the atom is in line with the Buddha's teachings. But it is how you use it that next concerns Buddhism. Because if people who are politicians administrators use the bomb for killing people, then it is harmful. But on the other hand, if splitting of the atom, the power produced is used for power generation, for curing people, and so on and so forth, then it is in line. So therefore, it is the scientific discovery itself is okay, but it's a utilization of the scientific discovery that changes the outlook, that can destroy the world, can harm human beings, or do good for human beings. If the Buddha Dhamma revealed by Buddha is unchangeable, why